Early 1982, I was a freshman in college, and I was on the wrestling team at York College, and it was a quick learning curve. But I figured it out, and in the next to last match of the year, coach came to me and said, "Mark, I don't normally ask this of a freshman, but this next match coming up, you got to keep it close. The guy's a returning All-American. Keep it close." And I said, "I'll do better than keep it close, coach. I know I can go with this guy." Because I had wrestled the national runner-up already and kept it close with him. I knew I had a chance. Plus, I was friends with his girlfriend who attended York College, which is a different story. But so I go out for the match, and this guy, he's laying a whipping on me. And I'm trying my best, and he's starting to get tired, and I start scoring some points. But then I missed a connection in my anterior cruciate ligament. It tore. My knee's flopping around like the flag in the wind. And coach comes out, and he says, "You're done." I said, No. And I said to the trainer, I said, "How much worse can this leg get?" And she's like, "It's torn already." I said, "I'm finishing." Coach said, "You're going to get hurt more." I'm like, "No." She said, "I won't." I said, "Besides, he's hurting worse than me." So I finished the match, and I did end up beating him, which I thought was rather amazing. But that was my last match of the year. I never got that knee repaired until about, I know. Because, in 1982, the surgery, they used a chainsaw to open you up. It was worse than the injury. But a couple years ago, I did finally get it repaired with a brand new artificial knee. And I got a hip, too, on the other side, because that went bad from limping around for years. So a couple years ago, I decided I was going to start trying some bicycle races again. And I started racing gravel bike, which basically riding on dirt roads. And there was a series in Pennsylvania. It was all over the state where they have different races. And the last race of the season was out near Lake Raystown. And I'm not real familiar with that area, but I went out and I was bound and determined to do well. Like I finally felt like I was starting to get back in shape. So the race starts, and the guy who had won every race in the series so far I only ever saw at the beginning of the race and at the end of the race when he was standing on the podium. That's the only time I saw him. Well, on the first big climb, I passed him. I'm thinking, holy crap, I'm doing all right in this race. He did eventually pass me back, but I was still holding my own. I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to get on the podium this time, finally. So there was a connecting trail that you had to turn onto that I missed. I rode right by it and started a second lap. So instead of a 42-mile race, I was getting ready to do a 72-mile race. But the problem was I didn't have enough material with me to finish that race. I didn't have enough water. I didn't have anything. I was almost out of everything. And when I realized it, I thought, I'm done. There's no way I can come back from this. I'll just find a shortcut and go back and in disgrace stop the race. I did mention that I was in a place where I was completely unfamiliar with the area. My shortcut turned into, oh shit, I'm lost. I was out of water and it started raining and I was getting cold and even my Garmin didn't know where I was. I had no idea how to get back. So I knocked on a door And the lady answered, and I asked her if she knew how to get back to this certain spot where they started the race from. I told her I'm lost and I don't know how to get there. She said, I know how to get there. She said, but I'll take you back, honey. She had kids. She piled them into the car. She threw my bike in the back of the car. And I hopped in all wet and so on and so forth. And she drove me back to the beginning spot of this race. And she absolutely refused to accept any money from me. I tried to give her $20. I'd have given her more, but that's all I had. She refused to take money. And she said, just pay it forward. Help someone out who needs help sometime. But I missed that connection getting back to the race. That was the last time I raced. I plan on doing it again this April. And that race is on this year's schedule. And hopefully I won't miss that connection this time. But yeah, a missed connection in more than one way. Thanks.